Heidi Sawyer, thank you very much for joining me for my free series. Now, I just thought I would just do this for you to give you a little bit more information on how the tree works in relation to your mind and body connection. This is simply for you, just a, something extra, a little something extra that you might find helpful in how you begin to piece things together. So, the tree of life. What is it? It's something that's it's probably a map that you've seen at some stage or another somewhere before. Perhaps you can't place where you've seen it. How I utilize it is I'm matching a couple of things. Okay, so I'm matching the foundational example of the tree of life and applying it to a modern way of how we look at things. And I'm also applying aspects of numerology in terms of these numbers here, as far as the life codes are concerned. Now, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to purely explain to you how things open up as far as your mind and body connection is concerned, and the importance of it. Okay, so if you can imagine that this is you as your physical experience. Okay, so this is you in your everyday world. Now you experience you as your everyday world all the time. Okay, it's you, it follows you around, it is you, it is what your life experience is on a day-to-day basis. This is you in your physical 110 energy. Okay, now the rest of your tree, in terms of who you are, the rest of who you are, and these all different things have different places in terms of our awareness, etc. The rest of who you are, you access at different points in your day, in your life, in your year, in your lifetime. So, as an example, when you come into developing your inner awareness, your personal awareness, etc., what most people do is they come in here at the 6th vibration, which is the soul level of expansion. So here we have this example, this symbolism of, we have the butterfly bursting forth from the chrysalis. Okay, so this is a symbolism of how we work in terms of our internal world and accessing levels of self-awareness. So as an example, with the butterfly bursting forth from the chrysalis, what does it have to do before it can burst forth? Well, it has to push against an element of struggle. Okay, so in order to build its strength, in order to build its wings, and strength within its wings, it pushes against this chrysalis. If you were to cut the chrysalis open and just say, there you go, butterfly, off you go, it wouldn't be able to fly. And why wouldn't it be able to fly? Because it hasn't built its strength in its wings. So when we come into often when we come into levels of our self-awareness, it has been through a push, it has been through a struggle in life, something that has occurred that we weren't expecting or we weren't planning for, and it's pushed us out into wanting to understand something deeper about ourselves, but also about how we connect and our understanding as far as our place in the world is concerned. So lots of people open up to their levels of self-awareness coming in through this kind of soul frequency first. As you can see, there's lots of pathways into this, so there's lots of different ways for that initial expansion to happen. So for some people it's psychic experiences, for others it's about a deeply spiritual experience, for other people it's about a life situation or a life crisis or something that has occurred in their life that it was something that they weren't expecting. So as that opens up, what does it do? Well, it gives us an opening sense to who we are, a sense of faith in ourselves, a sense of connecting with something deeper, and connecting with something that feels like purpose or a desire for that element of purpose. Now, what can happen as part of that journey is that we wobble a bit. And we wobble a bit if we haven't built elements of a strong foundation. So the mind and body connection, what that's about, is us building roots. Okay, so it's about building roots, a strong foundation, so that when the wind blows, it's not something that easily topples because the roots haven't spread wide and deep enough. Okay, so if you can imagine that this for you as your 110 experience, as you as your physical world, who you are as an everyday basis, it is the root of who you are. Okay, so when the soul expansion really starts to happen, we can feel that, but then we can feel that we start to feel distanced from our own reality, from our own physical world, from who we are, our identity, what we're supposed to represent in the world. So it can feel a little bit lost during that process of the soul expanding, and this is who we are in the everyday world is changing and adjusting. So what the mind and body connection is about is it's about tidying this frequency, which is the 9. And this is symbolized as the subconscious, and what we have here is a very clear symbolism is the moon. Okay, so the moon is an energy that we are very aware of, but we know also that it's not something we can control. It's not something that you can fully understand in terms of your immediate awareness of it. We know when the sun is out, but we don't really. We can sort of feel the magnetic pull of the moon, but we don't really know when or what it's doing, other than, as an example, that we have an awareness that it influences the tide. Okay, so the sea coming in and out, all of that kind of thing. So we have an awareness that it does that. So the subconscious is this sort of deeper part of ourselves that we understand has a magnetic pull, and it has an influence over how we operate in life, but we don't necessarily feel an immediate connection to it or have an understanding of it. But this gets full during our lifetime experience. So what we're often doing in developing that mind and body connection is we're tidying up the 9 frequency of what's been stored over a long period of time. And when we tidy up what's been stored over a long period of time, more clearly, you can see your whole world from a clearer perspective. We naturally then become more intuitive because why? Because there isn't much blocking it. There isn't much in the way. There isn't much that creates that sort of level of disconnect. So you can almost see, if you imagine that the 110 here is your head, and the 6 vibration here is your heart. So you know that we often describe in life that conflict. My head says this and my heart says that, and it's almost as though we're supposed to do one or the other. And what you're doing with the mind and body connection is you are allowing these 2 frequencies to work together with an understanding of what is healing or cleansing as far as the subconscious is concerned. Now we know when the subconscious is really beginning its cleansing process, when we start to clear things out of our life that no longer work for us, when we have a strong need to tidy things up, whether that is literally physically or emotionally clearing things out, tidying things up, or we feel that old ways of doing things, even if we haven't found a new way of doing something, but the old way feels unsettling, it doesn't feel quite right. Quite often you see, when this is going through a tidy up, people being really keen on changing an element of their life direction. So they might have been doing something has been very practical through their life, but it hasn't felt fulfilling, and feeling this compulsive need to adjust that or to change it. So that's quite often what we're doing when that 9 vibration is active. Now, what we can also find is how we then draw other things into it. Okay, so we can also apply what's called in psychology what's called the Karpman drama triangle within this, but we can also apply this to the tree of life. How does that feature? Well, if you look at this in terms of a drama dynamic, so the 110 here would be the victim energy, the 8 here is the persecutor energy, and the 7 here is the rescuer energy. As you can see, that there is this kind of triangle of movement and connectors between the two. That there is what happens when you rescue someone, which as an intuitive sensitive we're really good at rescuing. So if we try and rescue a victim or someone that we perceive as a victim, solving things for them, what does a victim who doesn't want to be rescued look like? They look like the persecutor. They'll switch, they'll turn, their energy will turn on you. You may well find that in certain aspects of your life, or something that you're working through right now, in your life there's a persecutor, in your life there's a rescuer, which I can pretty much guarantee is you as an intuitive sensitive, because we feel very responsible, and there's a victim of some sort or another. So there's this constant dynamic that moves around. What's powering that dynamic is the 9 vibration in the middle. Okay, so that 9 vibration of everyone's subconscious, as you can see, filtering in. So we've got that through the 30th path, 28th path, and the 32nd path. Everyone's dynamic filtering in and being expressed in some way or another. Your thoughts may be, well, okay, that's been my reality. How do I break it? Well, you're breaking it by developing this soul connection with your 110 vibration. So you're actually then, metaphorically, thinking outside the box of that drama. So you're starting to then break the code of that drama, because that drama cannot fulfill itself if there is a part missing. So if you're no longer rescuing, the drama collapses because it's got nowhere to go. It doesn't match, so that energy then kind of moves on. If there isn't a victim anymore, the energy, it's got nowhere to go. It's got nowhere to power itself up. The drama's got nowhere to power itself up. Now, this can be something that happens in our external world, but it can also be something that happens in our internal world, that we have our own dynamic of this bouncing around, which is we have our own persecutor, we have our own rescuer, and we have our own internal victim that is perpetuating an internal drama that is tiring, exhausting, and over a period of time creates this incredible amount of overwhelm. So how do we break that cycle? Well, you're breaking that cycle by developing the mind and body connection, which is you're allowing this soul expansion. But typically, again, that if you're only allowing that soul expansion, guess what? You're observing yourself in terms of what you do as far as that drama is concerned, but you feel powerless to change it. So this is why the key is developing this line through here, which is between your 110 as your physical world and your 6 vibration as the soul. So you're developing that connection between the two, cleansing this part so that the drama no longer has power. I really hope that you found this little session helpful in your journey, in your life moving forward. Bye for now. Of your tree, in terms of who you are, the rest of who you are, and these all different things have different places in terms of our awareness, etc. The rest of who you are, you access at different points in your day, in your life, in your year, in your lifetime. So, as an example, when you come into developing your inner awareness, and this is you as your physical experience. Okay, so this is you in your everyday world. Now you experience you as your everyday world all the time. Okay, it's you, it follows you around, it is you, it is what your life experience is on a day-to-day basis. This is you in your physical 110 energy. Okay, now the rest, the tree of life, and applying it to a modern way of how we look at things. And I'm also applying aspects of numerology in terms of these numbers here, as far as the life codes are concerned. Now, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to purely explain to you how things open up as far as your mind and body connection is concerned, and the importance of it. Okay, so if you can imagine, so the tree of life, what is it? It's something that's very It's probably a map that you've seen at some stage or another somewhere before. Perhaps you can't place where you've seen it. How I utilize it is I'm matching a couple of things. Okay, so I'm matching the foundation example of the Heidi Sawyer. Thank you very much for joining me for my free series. Now, I just thought I would just do this for you to give you a little bit more information on how the tree works in relation to your mind and body connection. This is simply for you, just a something extra, a little something extra that you might find helpful in how you begin to piece things together.